Life Abundant, a creativity practice for Eastertide. Now, Eastertide begins at dusk on Easter Sunday and runs through Pentecost Sunday. And it's a time of surprise and fresh beginnings. It's a time when Jesus would show up to his followers in guises that on the surface were often, they were unaware of who he was, and they had to look a little bit deeper. So we're going to do something today that invites us to reimagine some things. As we're walking through this practice, we invite your questions and your comments. We would love to hear from you. I'm Dr. K.P. McKee, and I'm the founder and executive director of A Spacious Place Creativity and Spirituality Center. To get started, we're going to need just a few supplies. You will want a Gospel of John, specifically chapter 10, verse 10. And I also have it here in some various translations, which might be helpful to you for this particular practice. Then you're going to want something to make some circles with, either a compass or a disc that you can trace around. And then a piece of cardstock that you're tracing the circle onto. So you'll need a pencil for that. And then also some kind of scrap paper, whatever you want, for another circle the same size that you will then also cut out with your scissors. You will want a fine line marker of some kind or a pen, a glue stick or some kind of glue, and some print sources. I have a stack of magazines here for what I'm doing. So the first thing we want to do is to take in this passage. So let's get ourselves ready to do that. First of all, it helps to put both of our feet squarely on the floor so we feel centered in the space that we're in. And let's take some deep breaths. Sometimes it helps to cast our eyes down and lower our shoulders where we carry our stress. We're moving our breathing from up high in our chest, which is where we breathe when we're feeling stressed, to down what we call belt buckle breathing, low in the lower abdomen. Think about an infant in deep sleep. When you're feeling focused and ready, we're going to start taking in the passage. So it's John chapter 10, verse 10. And on your first read through, just get an overall sense of the language used, the sentence structure, what this verse is about generally. And just sit with that for a little bit. And when you're ready, on the second read through, let's just imagine Jesus' facial expression as he's saying these words. Maybe how he's clothed, his body posture, what's going on around him. Make this a real setting, a real scene. And just sit with that a little bit. If you want to, if you're someone who enjoys writing, you might want to just write what comes to you in viewing that in your imagination. And the last time through, let's read it imagining Jesus' best hopes for you right now, in this moment. What would be for you life abundant from Jesus' perspective? So after you sit with that for a little bit, any words or phrases that come to mind, keep those in mind as we get ready to do our practice. So we're going to take our paper that has the circle traced in the middle and one of our print sources, and we're going to find in the print source words and phrases that would describe for you what Jesus' best hopes for your abundant life might be. So I'm going to just pull a few out of my AAA magazine. And here's one right here on the front cover. And the really cool thing about this is that it gives you an opportunity to reimagine and reframe words in ads and articles and give them a fresh meaning, resurrect them in a way. Let's see. Oh, I like this memory collector. I'm going to pull just a few just to give you a sense of what we're doing here. If by any chance a word or phrase comes to your mind and you're not finding it in full, then you can just simply pull letters from words to put together to be the word that you're looking for. Here's one. Kind of think of it as a holy ransom note idea.
And I guess you could write it yourself on a piece of cardstock or something.
I imagine you could do that as well. It's amazing what you can find when you just start rethinking the way you look at things. I'm going to pull just a couple more. Here's one. Precious time. And I just like the feel of the cutting and the pasting. It reminds me that God came in the flesh because it helps us to see and touch things. Because that's what we are. We're human beings. And let me do one more. This is a big one right here. Okay, so that gives us a good start, and I will show you what we do next. Now we're going to glue down these words and phrases like rays radiating out from the center.
About how many words do I need?
I think you just go with the flow and start gluing them down. You'll find that there's a pattern that it creates. Like here, I want this to fit on here, so I want to put it down here. And then just keep going until you have this sense of completion. That's enough for you to focus on. This is why we love to express our faith visually, because it helps us to have something to look at and focus on. I'll glue these couple down. When you have finished with as many as you would like to do, and this is a good use of our time because it gives us something tangible to see that Jesus has great hopes for us. Sometimes we focus so much on confessing sin that we begin to think that's the point, when actually the purpose of confession is to clear away anything that's a rubble in the way between us and our relationship with God. This is what it's all about right here. When you get finished with that, then you are going to glue down your other disc over the top, and on it write whatever expresses for you, this is Jesus' hopes for me, or however you want to say it. I'm going to put that here on mine. And of course we want to do more than this, so here's one that I have done before, just to give you a sense of one that's been fleshed out a little bit more. And this one I called My Life Abundant. After you have finished doing this, you probably want to sit with it for a while and just kind of take in what this life abundant would be like for you. So that is our practice for today. If you found it helpful, would you please like this practice on Facebook? You can go to our website at www.aspaciousplace.com and sign up for our e-newsletter so you can see what we're up to. Also, we'll have this on there as well as soon as we get it up and running. It's also be on our Facebook page, so you can look at it and pause it if you want to follow along that way. And if you would like to, we have one more.
And it'll also be on our YouTube channel.
Yes, on our YouTube channel too. And we have another creativity practice coming up at this same time, 2:30 Central Daylight Time on May the 6th. So 2 weeks from today. Let's close with prayer. Jesus, sometimes life abundant seems like a pipe dream to us. Help us remember in the daily things of our lives all the ways that you are showing us right now that your best hopes for us are for a life abundant. Amen. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.